Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe Smith. Yes. This is Paddock Live. Yes, it's live, which means you lot, need to get involved in all the comments and the chat. We're going to be covering all the latest Manchester United news, and a lot of it revolves around the revolution that is taking place under Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We have already seen Richard Arnold out.
Finito.
Gone.
Madness.
Yesterday's news. Madness. John Murtough. If I was him, I wouldn't be buying any green bananas. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not long for...
Not
this world.
Yeah.
The Old Trafford role that he has. Yeah. Also Eric Ten Hag. If I was him, I might have a little bit of a twitch.
Where does this leave him?
You might be thinking, there's a bit of an overhaul going on. We kind of expected that, but is this guy going to start just getting rid of everyone eventually? I don't see it happening soon, but is he already thinking, you've got to the end of the season and then my guy's coming in? We'll be getting into that, and I want to hear from you lot. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be a complete managerial overhaul, or is it just going to be some of the people we expected to go? Because let's face facts, we all thought Richard Arnold was living on borrowed time, and he was. John Murtough has got a CV which is about as impressive as mine. Eric Ten Hag is different now.
Yeah.
What, do you think mine's better than it?
Yeah, well, you've got a couple of Sony awards, haven't you?
Well, I've got 2 ARIA awards, if you and an O2.
An O2? What, a SIM card?
Nice. An O2 award, honestly. Runners up one, but he still counts.
Well, no, that doesn't count.
It's an award.
That doesn't count. He's got a runners up award.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, actually, was he when Solskjaer finished runner up?
Probably. He's been here for ages. He's been here for like 10 years, John Murtough. Honestly, he's been here.
We'll get into all this. What does it mean for him? What does it mean for him? What does it mean for Manchester United? What does it mean for Ten Hag? Who is this guy? And what has he done with my CEO? That's my question, eh?
I know. Do you know some of these pictures of Richard Arnold?
Yeah.
Like, you can have 2 pictures of Richard Arnold, and they genuinely look like different people.
Yeah, he's gone through a transformation, hasn't he?
It's unreal. I was looking for pictures this morning when I did my news, and it's like, that's not him. Oh yeah, it is. That's weird. I know there is another Richard Arnold, by the way, but there's pictures. If you go and look at Richard Arnold's pictures, some of them he looks like this, and other times he looks like that guy's son. Syed Mohammed Abu Dada says, did Arnold deserve to be the first one to go? He did try. Shouldn't the guy responsible for transfer negotiation, Murtough, be the first to go? Chalov Gidwani says, rich bloke takes over a nice shop. That's a fixture in the community and starts sacking the good folk who built it. Absolutely typical. One thing I will say... That's
a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
That has to be a joke.
It has to be a joke. Yeah. And if it isn't, I don't think anyone on planet Earth believes that Richard Arnold helped build Manchester
I think that's
United.
a good joke, though. I think he's messing about, and that's a good joke. I think you're
messing about, and I think that's very humorous.
Yeah, me too.
Well done.
We'll give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
Lovely bit of humour
Ethan,
there.
Are you giving him the benefit of the doubt?
Really good. Right, should we get into this then?
Come on,
let's get into our first story of the night.
I'll tell you what we're going to do first, though. You can subscribe to the channel because, come on, look. There.
Yeah, let's get to 723,000 tonight. Look at that, we only need 32 more.
No,
724,000.
Yeah.
724,000. Hit subscribe if you're watching and you haven't subscribed already. I can count to 724,000, mate. Let's get into our first story of the night then. Arnold, terminated. Look at that. What's this moving background? Jesus! Welcome to the 21st century. Full screen.
For starters, it's excellent punning.
Yeah.
Arnold terminated.
Yeah.
And then you've got the moving background.
It's also a different font to one we've ever used before. What's that about? It's our new font. So we're coming to the 21st century. Look at this. Arnold terminated. Richard, I mean, slightly making light of a man losing his job, but, you know, he's a rich man.
Hang on a minute.
He knew the game he was getting involved in.
Someone who's got 3 kids and who's working on a factory has just lost his minimum wage job. He's going to be all right. He's probably going to get a hefty payout, and he's probably earned about 10 million quid since he's been at United doing sod all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't care about him and his livelihood then, do you?
I don't. Do you know what? Call me a Tory, but sack them all. That's what I say.
Here we go. Richard Arnold is to leave Manchester United after 16 years as Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal for a 25% stake at Manchester United nears completion. General Counsel Patrick Stewart.
Make it so.
Let's not, let's go into that. Will take over as chief executive on an interim basis while the club decides on a permanent replacement. Arnold said, it has been an incredible privilege to serve this great football club for the past 16 years. Through highs and lows, the constant has been the dedication of our employees and fans. I would like to thank all of them for their loyalty and commitment and wish everyone associated with the club the very best for the future. The Athletic reports that Jean-Claude Blanc is under consideration to replace Arnold. Interesting time for Arnold to go. Do you think he jumped? Do you think he was pushed? Do you think he felt the hand at the base of his spine and decided to do the rest of the legwork himself? Because he hadn't been. I think he knew the writing was on the wall, and I think he's jumped personally.
Of course he has.
Yeah,
100%.
But you don't think he was sacked?
No, I think he was going to get sacked,
Yeah.
and he knew he was going to get sacked.
Yeah.
But I was hearing last week, and I'm not ITK, but someone told me last week who I trust that it had already been decided that Arnold was done.
Yeah.
And that was a journalist who, whilst being sort of in the know,
Yeah.
wasn't someone who was working for the Nationals.
Yeah.
So I think it was, if the journalist already knew,
Yeah.
then he knew. He knew he was done. And I think they've already had a conversation around that. Let's face facts, right? So Jim Ratcliffe it's not going to be announced next week that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is taking over this 25% stake or whatever, and then he's going to decide what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He'll already had his plan in place now.
Yeah.
So he's going to be like, right, he's coming in that role, he's going,
Yeah.
we're getting rid of him, we're moving that department over to be part of that department, this is the plan moving forward. That'll already be planned out.
Yeah. He did a tour of Manchester United, when was it? In March?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Months ago anyway, regardless. He's had an idea that he wanted to buy Manchester United for a minimum of 11 months,
Yeah.
if not years.
Yeah.
Who knows how long he's had his eye on Manchester United for. He's had a very long time to put this together, and obviously Richard Arnold will get the sniff that he's not part of the plans, and obviously from there he's decided, I'm going to jump before I get pushed.
I'm guessing that they've come to an arrangement as well. He's not going to be out of pocket. So it's not like, you walk away from a job, you're going to get less than if you just stuck around and get surfed out. I think there's probably some sort of arrangement where he's happy. He can walk away with a little bit of dignity by saying, I've decided to leave, let the new guy come in and do whatever, and obviously the club get rid of him.
First question.
Happy days all around.
Is this the right thing to do? Do you think this is a good thing?
100%. You cannot, right, come in with this idea of things are going to be different and there's going to be a change, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's coming in and all the mistakes and all the problems, all the issues we've had before, we're going to deal with them and we're going to start doing things in a different way than has happened under the Glazers. There's going to be a proper strategy and structure in place at the club, but we're going to keep the same CEO. That just stinks of more of the same. Even if it isn't, even if you came in and got him to implement the changes you want, and actually things did change, optically it looks terrible. Because it just looks like, well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's come in and he just kept in the bloke that's been working for the Glazers for the last 16 years, the one that's overseen even, bang average results and mediocrity, nice one. I know he's only taken over from Woodward in like the last few years or whatever, but for me, it makes loads of sense to get rid of him. And I don't think there's anything Richard Arnold can sort of hang his hat on and go, you can't get rid of me because of X, Y, and Z. He was sort of doing okay until the Mason Greenwood scenario.
Yeah.
And that was shambolic.
Yeah.
That was just handled horrendously.
Yeah.
So that kind of did for him anyway. In the court of public opinion, where a lot of United fans I spoke to, by all means, get involved in the chat and correct me or agree with me if you want, just thought, this guy, man, he's not the right one. He don't know what he's doing. Why has he done that? And I was saying this, me and Scotty were chatting earlier, and Scotty Mott, and I said, I thought he got a little bit of credit from the way he handled the situation when some of the 1958, or a splinter group of the 1958, whatever you want to call them, went to confront him, and they went to his house, and they stopped off at a pub, and he got wind of it, and he went and met them at the pub, and he spoke to them for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I think, okay, that's a little bit of something, that's probably more than Woodward would have done, I respect that, but any sort of goodwill or credit you're giving for that, I think was completely undermined by the Mason Greenwood situation, which was handled as badly as humanly possible to handle, I think. Yeah. I think even just bringing Greenwood back and sticking to your guns would have been worse than what he did.
Yeah.
Especially with that statement he put out, which me and you sat there on that table and dissected it, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Those bullet points are just etched into my brain as being something that should never have been published. Yeah. So I don't think he's a bad guy as such. I just feel it's time for him to move on. Yeah,
and he'll leave without a lot of the same hate that Woodward rightly got. He's not the same villain figure that Ed Woodward was. But like you said, he hasn't got a thing. He hasn't got, I created the NHS or I did the national minimum wage. Like, he hasn't got, look what I did at United. No. All he's got is, I was relatively steady for most of it, and then I mismanaged the Greenwood situation by not only threatening to make a bad decision in bringing him back, but then completely crumbling at the even merest hint of backlash. I then went against my own decision making. So not only do I look out of touch, but I also look like a coward. Like, do you know what I mean? That couldn't have been worse for him and United generally. So he's not done that many terrible things by any means, but he's just not done anything where you go, hang on a sec, I know we're getting a new owner. Look what he's done, he has to stay. There's nothing like that there, is there, unfortunately?
So he's more Anthony Eden rather than Clement Attlee, one would say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what you were getting at.
That's what
and
I'm
I
saying.
completely agree. Going to get in some of the comments in the chat. Get involved, let us know what you think. And make sure you're hitting that like button as well, please, people. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Cameron S says, who's been a member of the Academy for 37 months, says, I swear the camera plays tricks on Jay's height. Last week he looked Joe's height next to Motti. This week he looks Motti's height. I think he means Jay's height there. I don't know what's going on there. I think one of us is our height is playing tricks on us.
I ain't got any shoes on at the minute.
Garlic bread man, shut up you. Garlic bread man, don't tell everyone that. He's got stilettos on really. I'm dead tall.
So,
Garlic bread man says, hello lads, feeling quite positive with these new developments by SJR. He's making the right noises. If he starts talking to fans a bit more openly, he'll already be miles capitalised better than the Leeches. And then I'll get into some of the other comments as well. Let's have a look. Let us know what... Oh, sorry, Cameron S says I meant Scotty, not Motti. Right, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. SI Renz says, did Arnold vote against the 51% Ineos takeover? There were rumours, weren't there, that Arnold was a bit more pro-Qatari.
yeah.
That's maybe what helped do for him. I don't know how true those rumours are.
Yeah, I've seen that on
concrete.
Twitter, but I've not really seen that from anyone you would massively sort of hang your hat on yet.
Yeah, exactly. So, Brad Day says, Glazers saw the hype when Deadpool went to manage Wrexham, so they brought an ex-man in. Nice.
Patrick Stewart. I've served Patrick Stewart.
Did you?
Yeah, not like for Queen and Country, but like a coffee shop.
Oh, really?
A cafe I used to work at, yeah.
Where was this?
Home Sweet Home. At the
What area?
Deansgate.
Oh, right.
What's the big car park there? With like a casino in it and Almost Famous and all
like
that.
235 and all that. Oh, no.
Yeah, but what's the name of that place called?
Oh,
dear, that whole big building's got a name. It's not Printworks, it's like something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. Forgive me.
I used to
Losing all
work
my
at that
Mancunian
one.
Points there.
I used to work at
Right.
that.
Patrick Stewart?
And Patrick Stewart came in and they had a breakfast.
Really? He's from Yorkshire, isn't
He is, yeah, but
He
he
was
was.
in
I
Manchester.
tell you what, he wasn't in Yorkshire that day.
he? What was he like? Was he friendly or not?
He was very nice. Everyone just kept walking past him. Like, just couldn't believe our eyes. Oh my God, it's Patrick Stewart. He's having a cake shake.
Where does he rank on your favourite Baldies? Where would you put him?
Number one, good question. Probably, one of my mates' dads growing up,
Yeah.
because he was really tall.
Right.
Number two,
Yeah.
Mr. Potato Head.
Right, okay.
Obviously.
Yeah, right.
Three, yeah, Patrick Stewart.
So I'm not even top three.
Yeah.
Don't act like you didn't understand the question.
You're not top five.
Do you know what? That's fine. You're not my top three people with beards and ponytails.
Who is?
There's who? Andy Carroll.
Is he number one?
Yeah, Brian Kilcline.
Yeah.
And Jesus.
He didn't have a ponytail. They didn't have bobbles.
Yeah,
in
he
the New
did when he was
Testament.
like at home and that.
What did he use? Just an old bit of tripe.
Tripe?
What? Dried and crimped.
No, he used like a leaf.
Oh yeah, that's way easier than tripe. You absolute fool. Right, we've got any chats?
Enough of this nonsense. Right, Cameron S says Gareth Bale's up there. Emmett Toner says actual Jesus.
Yep.
Alec Whitterburn says Jesus. Alex Carey says 89 says Triple H.
Nice.
Yeah, everyone's getting involved. Ross McPherson says Gavin Peacock. Yeah, exactly. Right, let's move on.
Yeah.
I think we need to move on to the next story.
Sir Dave Brailsford, Jay. Look at this. Ford drives to Carrington. Look at that. That's the picture we've gone for. We were looking for a picture of Dave Brailsford before for ages because he either looks like Heston Blumenthal, Harry Hill, or who's the other one we said? No, who? Greg Wallace. But instead we've gone with that one where he's got a pre-made caffeinated beverage from an instant machine. He's got the look of a man who, the first horse, the bet hasn't come in. What are you doing?
That's what he's doing. I'm doing an impression of him. He's doing that.
Are you trying to be... You've already done this once with Amrabat. Are you trying to say that you look like him?
If I put glasses on and was a little bit lighter skinned...
You think you look like Sir Dave Brailsford, dear?
A little bit. Why not? Eh?
Yeah, you do, actually. Anyway, he's been spotted. Well, Ford drives to Carrington.
Yeah,
decent pun.
it's good. That.
Decent pun. Decent pun.
Pun game is strong tonight, bro.
It is actually. So Dave Brailsford has been visiting the Carrington training complex ahead of Ineos Group's impending investment. Brailsford, the sporting director of Ineos, which is obviously not just a petrochemicals company, which presumably doesn't need a sporting director.
Yeah.
It's also a cycling team. They own Nice, if we didn't know. Is understood to have made at least 2 trips to Carrington in recent weeks. Brailsford was driven onto the premises in a blacked-out vehicle. Ooh, lovely. The former head of British Cycling and Team Sky was part of the Ineos delegation that visited Old Trafford and Carrington in March. It was March, good guess by me, thank you. Ineos were impressed with the club's presentation and lauded their detail and depth. However, football director John Murtaugh's role is believed to be under threat as Ratcliffe seeks to overhaul the structure at United.
Driven onto the premises in a blacked-out vehicle.
Yeah.
What's all that about? What sort of a description is that? A blacked-out vehicle.
Car.
I know. Why say that?
Well, it could have been a
or,
tank.
or a van. Like,
Yeah.
why?
It was a
blacked-out vehicle. Just shut up. Just don't.
Automobile.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a machine that moves. Tuck him there. Like, just fuck off.
Yeah.
Right.
Low opacity digitech.
Yeah. Right. Just.
Yeah.
Oh, I need some more words. I'll just put he was driven in a blacked-out vehicle. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
What do you make of that then? A Knight of the Realm, no less, at Carrington Training Ground.
I know, man. We've got a few knights involved now, haven't we?
Yep.
Hey, got Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Sir Alex Ferguson.
Sir Alex Ferguson and Sir Dave Brailsford. Do you know what I mean? It's all happening. I don't know about this guy. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think people can get on a hype and get excited because it's like, oh yeah, look what he did for cycling, look what he did there, and he's Sir Jim Ratcliffe's right-hand man. And that's all well and good. Yeah, I'm not dismissing it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there that makes me think he's going to come into United and be a success. I'm not saying he's going to be a failure. I just don't know. And that is almost meaningless to me. I haven't got a strong feeling one way or the other. I'll be honest. There's nothing. I don't want to go, yeah, look, I never heard of this guy 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Or whenever it was that he first came into the sphere of United. I've never
heard of him.
Had you? But in what capacity?
In the Olympic cycling thing.
Oh, right, okay.
Because Britain were the best in the world, weren't they, for 5 or 10 years, with like Chris Hoy and all them.
See, that's mad, because I covered that quite a lot as a reporter. Like, I interviewed Chris Hoy, I interviewed Laura Trott, I interviewed Jason Kenny a few times. So we was always covering like cycling and what was going on, and there was all this hype, and obviously the National Cycling Centre is down near the Etihad. So, but I never heard of Dave Brailsford.
I mean, I'll be honest, I couldn't have written his Wikipedia, but I knew there was always this bloke associated with the cycling that
so maybe
had this marginal gains
idea.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't know everything about him by any means, but he's been a relatively highly spoken about figure for probably 10, 15 years, but obviously he's not mainstream by any means. But I like the fact that he's got a track record of improving things, of attention to detail, of taking a sporting team or a sporting organisation and making them better by being interested and bothered and into it. Because the one thing the Glazers aren't is interested and bothered about Manchester United. They're not putting... Let's imagine, right, Joel Glazer and Avram Glazer are the greatest football minds in the world. Darcy Glazer is the next Cruyff, right? It wouldn't matter because they aren't about. They aren't here, they aren't helping. All they do is sit from a distance and take money when they want it. So at least now we've got someone who will hopefully have ideas and actually want the best for Manchester United. I feel like the Glazers it's like United are basically just interested in an account, stocking up a bit of money, add on another 10 million every year. That's all we are to them, and I feel like at least he'll have some interest in it.
Now, I hear you, and I remember you talking about that little sort of, what is it you call it?
Marginal gains.
Marginal gains, sorry, thank you. So I understand that. And I will say this about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all this hype and all this noise about the team is bringing in, and I'm sure everyone who's watching, can relate to this if you don't necessarily agree. I've been following United throughout the entire Glazer ownership. Yeah, I was 25 in 2005 when he took over, so I was a grown man, so I can remember it well. I can remember protesting against it. I can remember being angry that they were coming in and giving us all this debt and they were making all this leverage buyout and didn't have any money to put in, all the rest of it. I never ever once saw during that entire 18 years a part of their ownership where they started bringing in the right people, where you started going, okay, yeah, that makes sense. When Woodward was appointed, I think at first he was like David Gill's understudy, because I think they inherited David Gill. It sort of crept under the radar that Woodward, who's been the architect of this takeover, comes from a banking background, has no knowledge or understanding of football or even sport or a brand.
No.
Even if someone came from Coca-Cola as a CEO and knew how to manage a massive global brand and make it, successful, you could go, all right, you can at least take the idea of making something successful into this. But he didn't. He was just a banker who was the Glazers' mate because he'd helped them make all this money. So when he took over this important role, when all these other people were being appointed, there was never a point where you go, wow, I can't believe we got John Murtough. That's sick. Do you know what I mean? What? Richard Arnold's coming in. Look at what he's done. No, there was none of that. So at least with him, you can go, well, I know him from cycling. I know he's been successful. We're going to get into some of the other ones now, but you can talk about the likes of Paul Mitchell, perhaps, what he's done in football, how successful he's been. Jean-Claude Blanc, how he's been successful. He's had, I think, at Juve in the Olympics. So there's things where you go, okay, there's a sort of optimism coming because of this team coming in, because of these people that I've never ever felt with the Glazers. I've never felt there's been one point, and I know for a lot of their tenure, obviously Sir Alex was there, so no one really gave a shit about what was going on.
You didn't need to help.
I don't care because Sir Alex is dealing with everything. But then once he gone, there was never that point where you go, wow, we've got the best in class in here. We've got the people that we should have here. There was never that, and at least now it feels that way. I'm so scared of getting carried away.
Me too.
I am. We're getting some of the comments. Ashwin Premnath says, I'm here for Joe's wild fashion, disappointed. Oh, I'm here for Joe's wild fashion, disappointed. Keep up the good work though, chaps. Joe Corcoran says, TalkSport famously knows what's up. Exactly. Dan United 94 says, Richard Arnold was widely regarded as the driving force behind some of the most groundbreaking noodle sponsorship deals in modern times.
It's not bad, is it?
That's a very, very good point. AI Williams says, some decisions actually being made for footballing reasons. Unbelievable. Martin Darcy says, listen lads, just don't get your hopes up because it actually can get worse. There's always that, of course. When you think you've hit rock bottom with United, they find another sort of low level to sink to.
I'm going to get my hopes up though.
Yeah? I don't mind a bit of optimism.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put it this way, right? We are better off now, I think, with the situation we're in than we were just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Or even a year ago. A year ago, when the Glazers were in full ownership control, we had Richard Arnold there, you had all these other people that you like, what is going on? At least now, you've got someone who's coming in and putting in some of his own money, which Glazers never did, with this 245 million towards the infrastructure. Yes, it's not what you need. It's more than what you need, sorry. But he's putting some of his money where his mouth is, his old Jimbo. Bringing in people who have a good reputation. I think we're moving in the right direction. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
I have my concerns.
Yeah, it's mad as well, isn't it, that like if it was a transfer window and you spent 245 million, people would go, hang on a sec, how come you're not playing very well? You've spent 250 million quid in the last window. And yet when he comes in and goes, I'm going to spend 250 million quid on infrastructure, people go, nah, shit, it's not enough that, rubbish, nothing, barely exists.
And maybe it is staged, and maybe it's like, right, first of all, we're going to sort out the training ground, then we're going to look at this, then we're going to look at that.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, because me and you spoke about training ground the other week, and other than cutting down and putting up trees and taking down cameras and putting them back up, now it's changed in 23 years there.
Yeah.
And I despair at what players like Varane and Casemiro and Ronaldo when he came back, and even Mason Mount. Yes, bro.
Love that.
Like, must come into Carrington and go, this is United, this is one of the biggest clubs in the world, certainly the biggest club in England. These are the facilities. Like, this isn't as good as Cobham, or this isn't as good as what I had at Madrid.
Or even the, was it St George's?
Yeah.
The England stuff.
Yeah, so we need to modernise, so I get it. I just hope that this is a move to bigger and better things. Let's move on.
Yes, let's talk about another billionaire buying a stake in Manchester United. This is Cooperman. Cooperman. He's not a superhero. Buys mini stake.
Very good. Very, very good.
Cooper Mini. Yeah. That's very good.
I think tonight we have seen what can only be described as elite punning. Yeah. Absolutely. Everyone a 10 out of 10.
In terms of puns, this is Tim Vine levels, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the Torval and Dean of the punning world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Ethan,
faultless.
Just for 100% clarification, what car do you drive? He drives a Mini Cooper, so maybe he's had a slight. Is that insider trading technically using that pun? Does he get docked?
Have you got a deal going on with Mini?
Have you got?
Did they give you that car for free?
Yeah.
If you can get a Mini Cooper pun into Stretford Paddock's Paddock Live.
He's nodding his head, but
like you're not saying no.
His pockets are bursting.
You're smirking and sort of twitching your head side to side.
No, he just does that. He can't help it.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I might have to put the brakes on that one.
Nah.
American billionaire investor Leon Cooperman has secured a stake in United as Sir Jim Ratcliffe edges towards a deal. Cooperman, 80. Cooperman, isn't it? Let's be honest. 80.
Cooperman.
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 To save the day, has purchased 1 million shares.
1 million
in some sort of Dr. Evil type investment in the Red Devils, valued at around $16.8 million, as per a recent filing. The founder of the New York-based Omega Advisors, he is thought to have a net worth of $2.6 billion. Is that it? I eat $2.6 billion for breakfast.
Exactly.
Mate.
It's not worth getting out of bed for.
The news comes amid suggestions that Ineos we know the rest of that. Cooperman, here he is to save the day. To me, obviously, 1 million shares, which is obviously just a figure that he picked out of the air and then paid the sort of required amount. Just for anyone who doesn't know, is around 1.8%. So this is essentially worthless.
So me and him are quite similar in a way.
You both own a non-controlling stake of Manchester United.
Yes.
How much do you own?
Oh, just check my app.
What app are you on?
eToro.
Don't mention it, because actually...
Oh yeah, sorry. I own $17.50
of
United stock.
How many? So what's that, one share? That's
$20 was the minimum.
Just divide that. It's just over one share.
$20 was the minimum that you could buy. I only bought it so I could keep tabs.
So it was 20 when you bought it. It's gone down.
It's 17.51 actually now.
So you've lost what, a couple of percent on that?
Yeah, though it has gone up recently. It fell quite drastically, and then it's gone up.
It fell quite drastically as the news swirled that investor Jay Motti has bought one share.
I love it. It says like you click on a bit on this app and it says portfolio. Yeah. My portfolio, Man U, which I don't like. It says,
that's what it's called. It's not your fault.
Value $17.51.
You're that's basically my portfolio. Cooper, aren't you?
I've got a share portfolio, don't you know? I need to speak to my accountant about that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. See if he can get you some dividends on that. You got your fraction of 1% dividends, sir. How would you like your penny being delivered?
There's probably someone out there going, it's just as bad as the Glazers.
You are. This essentially doesn't matter in terms of the control of Man United. All it means is he thinks in the coming months and years, because let's be honest, he's 80, so this isn't a 50-year plan. No. He thinks the stock price of Manchester United is going to go up, or he sees it as a long-term investment for maybe his kids or whatever.
Yeah.
This essentially means he thinks Jim Ratcliffe will be a success at United, is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Because, or certainly that Jim Ratcliffe will help boost Manchester United stock price. Because it's enough money for it to matter to him, but it's not enough money for it to matter to Man United. Yeah. Like, this is essentially just like you owning whatever, $20 worth. As far as United are concerned, this is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. This is, I mean, like you say, he's obviously doing it to make money.
Yeah.
And he thinks there's going to be some success on the horizon.
You know what I mean?
So,
and if Cooperman says it...
Exactly. If me and him both say it...
You do say it.
I think I'm pretty confident I can get that 17.51 up to 18. If Sir Jim works his magic.
Don't say anything
and then, you're almost edging towards getting that $20 mark back so I can cash out. Because I can't withdraw anything less than 20, so I'm stuck. I've been stuck with these for ages.
Jay, you're living in a fantasy land. The idea of making your money back on investing in United is... I mean, it's an exclusive club, that. Only the Glazers get to do that. Everyone else just buys shares and either gets them bought off them without knowing or just loses money on them.
Ollie Aston says Jay started his aggressive buyout slowly.
It's disgusting, honestly.
Wait till them compulsory purchase orders start coming in, boys. Hey, Jay Mott is the new owner.
Shit, Motty's bought another $9. Watch our backs. Ratcliffe is absolutely spewing. He didn't put an anti-Motter's head clause in his contract. You gobbled him up. Unbelievable. How could he be so naive? It's not the first time.
Cameron S says Jay's just into milk the United cow.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
You're fucking sick, man. You're horrible, you are.
Relocating.
You've used the word tranche when talking about that investment. You've used it too before. Buy another tranche.
I'm like that guy who watched The Big Short. With
Yeah.
his Jenga stack of Jenga
That's
blocks. That's me with my $17.51.
$74.51 tranche.
Yeah, please don't protest outside my house, people. Because I know we all hate the shareholders at United. Don't think I'm part of the problem. Yeah.
There we
Nothing.
Don't matter.
People were trying to get excited about this, but there's not too much to get excited about.
No.
It's a guy buying a very, very small, in relative terms, stake in Manchester United to make a little bit of dough. I don't think we're going to see Cooperman taking over anytime soon.
He is just Cooperman.
I don't know why we keep saying it like that.
Marvel comic hero Cooperman.
Hey.
Right, let's move on to our next story. What do we got? Benfica's Neves. Ben Neves. What's that meant to be?
The mountain.
As in the mountain?
Ben Neves.
What's that got to do with this? Ethan just went like, he gave me the shrug which seemed to say, it's the fourth story of the night, what do you want?
I ran out of steam.
Yeah.
It's the ran out of steam story.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
It's the R4 on a Friday afternoon type story.
What I will say is to save you here, Ethan, United have got a mountain to climb if we're going to try and sign him, I'll say that much. Manchester United are interested in 19-year-old Benfica midfielder João Neves. Fabrizio Romano tweeted, understand Manchester United scouts were in attendance at Benfica game versus Sporting to follow João Neves. Portuguese midfielder, born in 2004, is being monitored by #Manchester United FC scouting department, waiting for board changes to make future decisions. It's reported that scouts from the Premier League side were in attendance for the recent league clash for Benfica's 2-1 victory at home against Sporting CP on Sunday, with the Red Devils keeping close tabs on the 19-year-old ahead of a potential January transfer.
Don't know a lot about him. I think he's got one cap in it for Portugal. Yep. I think he's 19. I think he's played about 40 odd top flight games or professional games for Benfica. Looks like a good prospect. I'm not going to stand here and just sort of try and do some half-baked scouting report on him. We do need good, young, sought-after players. He seems to fit that bill. How much are you going to get him for? I don't know. Is he going to be a January signing? I don't know. I don't know. He might be one of those players where you go, he's got one cap. He's on the sort of the very cusp of his career. Do you go early now? Do you get him in now? Maybe spend, I don't know, let's just say 30 million on him rather than waiting, even if you wait till the end of the year.
And you know what Benfica are like for getting fees for players?
Yeah,
as well.
they do. Well, was it how much did they get for Nunes? Was it
80 million rising up to 100?
Didn't he have like one big
very
season?
Achievable add-ons. They got 125 million for João Felix. They've got shitloads of money. Was it six? Was it them that sold
didn't João Felix
Diaz to City as well?
Didn't João Felix have like one good season before he went to
They've got like their top 10 sales are all massive.
So maybe you do have to go early if you want to get him for less than sort of 50, 60, 70 million.
Yeah.
Because if he gets to summer and he's had like a really good season, maybe got a couple more Portuguese caps to go. Actually, now he's going to be 70 million in United. I think we can't afford that. I don't know a lot about him. It'll be interesting to see if you do know anything about him. If you watch a lot of Benfica, you've seen him. Give us a shout. Let us know.
There's over 1,700 people watching. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. Let's see if we can get to 724,000. We only need 25 more of you to subscribe. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Let's see if we can get to 724,000 before the end of the show. That'd be fantastic. So get that up on there. Yeah, you look at some of Benfica's sales.
Enzo Fernandez, of course, forgot about him.
Enzo Fernandez, 120 million. Ruben Diaz, like I said,
Enzo Fernandez, another
68
one.
million.
How many good seasons did he have?
None. He played about 20 odd games for him.
So they do this when anyone starts showing any form or anything remotely resembling world-class potential. Yeah. They get them moved on.
Do you know the mad thing with them though is, of all the teams, if you look at players, if teams' top 10 biggest signings, top 10 biggest sales, so many of them are duds. You look at theirs. It's not done in price order quite, but you look at some of the big ones. Enzo Fernandez. You couldn't quite say success yet, but he plays every week for Chelsea, and Chelsea fans think he's great. Ruben Diaz, fantastic success. João Felix, probably a bit of a dud, but he plays a lot of games, and he's
the trouble is Atletico massively overpaid for him.
They did, but some of the other names
a good player for 35, 40 million, not for 120 million.
Edison, 40 million. Di Maria, 33 million. Like a lot of those players. Nemanja Matic, 25 million.
Did a great job at Chelsea.
A lot of them have done very good things. So. They're a relatively reliable team to buy from as well, unlike a lot. Darwin Núñez, of course, you could say it's going either way with him, but maybe not
He's
the
a weird
biggest
player,
success so far. Yeah.
Like, he can score some absolute bangers and he can miss an open goal from 3 yards. He's just a weird guy.
He's got... Darwin Núñez is one of those players. Do you know, if compare him to someone like... Who would be a good example? Let me have a think. Let's say Enzo Fernandez. Everything across the board, he's at least a sort of 5.5 out of 10 at. And some things he's really good at. Darwin Núñez is the sort of player that some of his qualities and some of his traits, he is genuinely world class at. And some of his qualities and some of his traits, he is Sunday League level at.
Yeah.
He's got no middle ground.
Yeah.
He's either phenomenal or embarrassingly bad. Like, it's such a weird player to watch because you watch him and go, oh my God, fucking hell, look at that, he's missed. Like, all the time.
I think the level of strikers has dropped me. I think in the Premier League, sort of 20 years ago, or even longer, you had so many top strikers.
Yeah.
Like, who were genuinely good at everything.
Yeah.
Like, good at passing, good at going past players, good at in the air, had a bit of pace, was strong, could head the ball, could hold it up, could, you know, I mean, could get in behind. Like, you had so many good strikers, and I think now it also feels like everyone's a specialist at something.
Yeah.
Like, you are good at, you know, I don't know, you're good at, say, getting in behind but nothing else. Yeah. You're good at sort of holding the ball up, nothing else. There's not, like, you're good at finishing and you've got a bit of pace, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad because remember when we had Kevin Campbell on here?
Yeah.
Great guy, by the way. And he was at Arsenal for, like, a big chunk of his career, then he went to Everton and Trabzonspor and other clubs, but I think he's got the record for the most amount of top-flight goals without getting an England cap. And he scored like 150 top-flight goals or something and didn't get an England cap. Yeah. And you think, that's insane. Yeah. Nowadays, you can score 8 goals for you in the top flight and get an England squad. Yeah. How did that happen? Then you look, well, he had Alan Shearer, Ian Wright, Les Ferdinand, Dion Dublin. He had all these, Andy Cole. Andy Cole's another one, he got 13 caps and scored 187 Premier League goals. Yeah, yes, a lot of that is because Glenn Hoddle's a dickhead. But there's also the fact that there was top strikers in front of you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And Teddy Sheringham. Like, so many good strikers back in the day. And I feel like now, I'm not saying strikers are poor, they're not. You know, I rate Rasmus Højlund, I think he's class. But I feel like it's as an attacker now, you're far more specialised than what you used to be. A lot of the older strikers used to be good at so many different things. And I think that's probably just a little bit about how football's evolved. Anyway, enough of me being an old man. What have you got next for us, producer?
Yeah, let's move on. San Cheerio.
This is actually, sorry, just on that.
We're just ignoring that one.
Go on, we'll go into this, and Wayne Davis has made a good comment, then I'm going to get into it. San Cheerio.
Instead of Sancho. It's not bad. It's not great. At least it's sort of alright, isn't it? I don't mind that one, weirdly.
Yeah, you know when you do, like, you watch the gymnastics and they do, like, they're on the pummel bars or whatever.
What?
When you watch the gymnastics.
When you're watching gymnastics?
I'm not, sorry.
When your missus has gone to bed?
Yeah, not all of us can afford, you know, the adult channel.
And you sat in your boxers, covered in 3 melted ice pops in key areas.
Covered in Cheetos, watching fucking, you know, late night gymnastics.
Covered in wax. A sweaty brow, a stained boxer short.
Put a bit of Luther Vandross on and watch the fucking gymnastics. Yeah. But you know how, like, they'll do all these mad tricks and mad skills, and then you think, oh, this is amazing, and right at the end, when they land, they do that.
This.
Oh, and you know they fucked it, and they know they fucked it.
Just that half, and that's it.
And yet everything else was mint. I feel like it's like Eve tonight.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely mint. He's done all the flips, he's done the back flips, he's done everything, everything's perfect, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. He's landed and he's just staggered.
Just a little step back.
Oh, with a San Cheerio. It's not quite.
It's not bad, but it's not quite. Sorry. Here we go. Representatives from Juventus were in the UK last week and are understood to have made contact with Manchester United over the possibility of a loan move for Jadon Sancho in January. It's unlikely the Italians would be able to afford a transfer fee for the player who cost United £73 million from Borussia Dortmund in 2021 and was available for £45 million in the summer. Even if Sancho left on loan, United would probably have to subsidise a portion of his 275, as it's been reported there, £1,000 a week wages. Dortmund are also believed to be considering a move for Sancho back to the Bundesliga. Saudi Arabia is another possibility. So if I'm to understand this correctly, they get our player, we still have to pay half of his wages, and they don't give us any fee when they buy him. What? Why do we find ourselves in these positions so often? Why do we always have this situation where our squad and our players and our contracts are so ludicrous that we end up having to give players away for free, and not just giving away for free, it costs us money for him to play for Juventus. Let alone a transfer fee. Actually, essentially, we're paying him to be there. We're paying them for him to be there. How does that work out?
I know. Just on that, Dave McDonald's done a piece tonight as well, saying that United are actually refusing to budge on the transfer fee. So there's a few different reports.
I would massively agree with that.
Yeah.
And also, here's another thing. I've just thought of this.
Go on.
Man United. We were talking about John Murtough before, and there was reports tonight that even if Jim Ratcliffe takes over in the next few weeks, or it's all agreed officially in the next few weeks, it might still take 6 to 8 weeks to be fully, him to fully come in. I wonder whether they've decided they can go without a CEO for a few weeks, but with the January transfer window coming up, you can't go without John Murtough. You can't go with... Someone has to be in the room trying to get deals done. I wonder if that's the reason why Arnold's the first one to leave. Because there's been reports of John Murtough as well, because you can kind of, maybe go into sort of cruise control without Richard Arnold, but someone has to be signing the documents and negotiating transfers. I wonder if there's an element of that to it.
God knows, we don't want to give Eric Ten Hag more responsibility when it comes to transfers. He already sounds like he's got perhaps a little bit too much. Joe, when we started this channel, when we bought it, we took over from Full Time Devils, became Stretford Paddock. We may as well have been called Jadon Sancho TV, because we covered the reports, the rumours linking us with him when he was at Dortmund. We covered all the stories. Me and you were outside Old Trafford between us every day, and every day it felt like Sancho imminent, Sancho bid accepted, Sancho offer made, Sancho negotiations, talk start, whatever. It was constant. And me personally, from what I was watching of him at Dortmund, and from what I'd seen, and from what I'd spoken to, even people that had seen him in the academy at City, Dave Pritt and them had seen him playing against United when he was at City as a kid. It seemed to be a perfect transfer for us. It seemed just the type of player we needed, a great young player who is English, so it wouldn't be an issue for him coming back to England.
Very technical player.
Different to what we had. Could, get goals, get assists, exciting to watch, an entertaining player to watch. I can honestly say he has just been a massive disappointment of Alexis Sanchez levels. Like, in all honesty, I don't think I've been as disappointed with a Manchester United signing since Alexis Sanchez came, because no disrespect to Jadon Sancho, and I know he's, there's not everything's gone his own way, and some of that's not his own fault, but I just think he's been completely and utterly underwhelming on so many fronts. I don't think he's ever for me put in 3 or 4 good performances on the spin. I just don't. I think very rarely he'll put in 2 on the spin, if I'm being honest. It has happened, but not very often. I think some of his best games have been like 45 minutes against Leeds or whatever, or 40 minutes against the Scouts, which are good games and, teams that I want to beat. But there's never been like a game where I think, oh my God, he's absolutely dominated it or whatever. Not in the way we saw at Dortmund. And then if you look at over the course of his United career, it's been fits and starts in terms of goals and assists. We've had issues. We had a first season where he just completely underwhelmed, but everyone was like, well, everyone did, it's okay. Second season, he went away for 3 months to get himself fit, whatever that may be. Came back, was okay, didn't really do a lot towards the end of that season. This season, falls out of his manager and hasn't featured since. And in all honesty, even when United have been struggling, even when we've had these bad results, even when we've had performances that have been lacklustre, there's not been much of me, or not a big part of me that has felt, oh, if only Sancho was playing for us.
And you know the mad thing as well? That's not even been the case on social media.
No.
Do you know, for a long time, people wanted Donny van der Beek in. People even get Tellers in when Luke Shaw's
Look at the reaction with Greenwood.
Yeah.
Look at it. And Greenwood is someone that a lot of people would argue with good cause that should never set foot inside Old Trafford again as a player. Yet I see more people hankering for Mason Greenwood, who's not kicked a ball for us in 2 years, than I see for Jadon Sancho. People just give up on him.
It's sad, isn't it?
It is sad.
And I genuinely feel bad for Jadon Sancho. Because everything you hear, and everyone who actually seems to know him or talks about, second-hand or first-hand information of what he's like, he's a nice lad. He's a nice bloke. Like, I don't think he's a twat. I just think, for whatever reason, there's certain parts of his personality that obviously don't work with Ten Hag. They just don't. Like any relationship, sometimes, you might have a partner that doesn't mind that you don't do the dishes. The next one, she don't mind that, but she hates that you do this. Like, things just don't always work. And him and Ten Hag, it didn't quite work under Solskjaer, but it was never going to work under Ten Hag. If he's got this part of his character where he's going to come on social media and accuse his manager of lying, Ten Hag is not going to accept that. So for me, one of them's got to go, and there's no way it's Erik Ten Hag.
Do you think Jadon Sancho, and I don't know, and this is a theory or just a question more than anything, do you think maybe he feels he hasn't got what it takes to make it United? Do you think this could be his way of almost getting out of it all? Because he might not be feeling it. He might.
I think he wants to leave.
No, but I don't mean like wants to leave as in, the manager's a knobhead or whatever. Maybe he's thinking, this is too hard for me. Maybe this is like, he's used to tearing it up with Dortmund. He's come to United. He's never quite got going, and he's probably, he sees himself getting subbed a lot. He sees Marcus, his mate, banging in 30 goals last season. I know Jadon Sancho's never been that prolific, but his numbers were decent at Dortmund. Yeah. There's been some games where he looks like he's lost confidence. You remember that Chelsea game where he got subbed? Yeah. That was one of the worst 10 minutes I've ever seen him have.
Yeah.
He just kept giving it away. He was having one, wasn't he? Yeah. And the manager took him off for his own good. And I just wonder whether part of him is like, I can't have this. I can't. This isn't for me. Yeah, he's changed it.
What's happened there?
Jay gone, Sancho.
Right. Do you know what takes that from being 5 out of 10 to being 8 out of 10?
Go on.
Ciao is buying Italian. And it's
That's
Juventus.
Really good. Really good. Have you got that off the chart? Or have you made it? You got it off the chart? Yeah. Oh. Nah, do you know what? I don't mind that.
I don't mind it, but it takes
he's
it down
owned
to a
it
7.
though, hasn't he?
Takes it back down to a 7 though.
Does it?
Yeah, from an 8 to a 7. That's very good.
I think he deserves credit for admitting it. Do you know what I mean?
Right, up to a 9 then. There you go.
You get credit.
And as we know, when he gets a 9,
you get credit in this
pay
game.
rise.
Right, quick fire questions.
Okay,
right,
let's do it.
I'm going to do this. I want quick questions. Is there a way back for Jadon Sancho at Manchester United?
No.
Do you want to see him come back for Manchester United?
Not if it means Ten Hag backing down or getting sacked, no.
Do you think if Erik Ten Hag gets sacked that Jadon Sancho could come back?
Yes, but I don't think it will.
Do you think the fans would give him a good reaction if he does come back?
Not straight away, no.
Get sacked?
No.
What is the best solution for everyone in when it comes to Jadon Sancho at Manchester United?
Loan spell to the end of the season. United get 30 to 50 million for him in the summer once he's proven himself that he's still a good player, but he just needs a change of scenery.
Love that. Well done, son.
Thank you.
Good answers. I agree with everything you have said. And also, can we just add one thing as well?
Yeah.
It's kind of gone under the radar a little bit how this guy was looked at as someone who, by this time, would be regularly playing for England. Yeah. There was an argument at one point that you could maybe play him on the right over Bukayo Saka. Yeah. And people were like, you know what, you should. Now that seems insane. Yeah. It really does. But
he was, I know, I always say it.
But I know he was probably better on the left. But
3 or 4 years ago, it was, when you're looking at where they are in the career, it was him, it was Haaland, and it was Mbappe. Of like, these three are going to take the mantle for like some of the best players in the world. These could be the future Ballon d'Or winners. Yeah, he was averaging like 40 goals and assists a season in the Bundesliga. It's not in some shit league, you know. And then obviously when he was playing with Haaland as well.
I think his last season in Germany, I think it was 39 appearances, 36 goal involvements.
Just amazing.
Which is Messi numbers.
He's obviously a great player. And there's a great player in there, and I'm sure we'll see it somewhere else. But I think what United need at the moment is hard-working, but like straight down the line, like high work rate players who are going to just do what they can every single week. We need a sort of a reset, and I think players on big money who need a lot of care and attention to get the best out of them. We sort of need to move away from that for a little bit. We can't afford sort of luxuries like that, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a sad situation the way it's all ended up, but never mind. At least Ethan turned it around with that pun.
Thank you.
Even if he did get it off the chat there. So thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments and helped Ethan out with his puns. Thank you to you, Joe Smith. Where can people find you?
Sloppy Joe's podcast. Make sure you check it out. A new episode came out yesterday. Go and check it out. Sloppy Joe's podcast on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else.
We were 19 away from the... Can we put a subscribe link in the chat? Because we could make this, we could do this. If 19 people watching, right, and you haven't subscribed to the channel, we're going to put a link now in the chat.
It's also just below the video, so you can just click there as well. Yeah, it's
below the video. We'll put a link in the chat now. We need 18 people, right? There's one. People are on it. Just subscribe, hit that subscribe button. There you see it there, link in the chat. and we could get. Joe just wanted that 7,000.
So close.
724,000. That's what he wanted to get to, innit?
Yeah.
He's so close. There's one more now. Just 17 away. Come on, people. Hit that subscribe button if you've not done it already. Let's do this, man. Do you know what I mean?
How long do we wait? We can't.
I can go all night, man. Them kids will feed themselves. They'll be fine.
Really? Whose kids are they? Right, we're going to have to wrap up. Hit subscribe if you haven't already.
No.
Jay, we need to have a chat. You said you weren't going to do it anymore.
Now we've gone down. Now we're losing him.
See you in a bit.